Thank you for tuning in to Andronetalks Radio, gathering as one in our sovereign truth from a galactic perspective, exploring our world with new ideas, knowledge, and a promise of a better future. Galactic discussions for galactic-minded people. Andronetalks.
Hello, everyone. Greetings. Thank you for joining us today. We're going to have a very good conversation with Taino, as some people know him, and Tyson from Unit 374. And also his trip, he has a second trip that he went to Colorado, and I'm interested in hearing more about that. We're also going to touch on some other anomalies and things that have come up since then. So without further delay, welcome, Taino. Thank you for joining us today.
Hello, Jessica. Hello, Rolf. Hello to all the viewers, all right, who's going to check this. And yes, indeed, I'm very thrilled to hold this conversation with Jessica.
Okay, so why don't we jump right into it? So you've had some paranormal things or some unidentified flying objects that you've noticed not only there in Colorado, but actually before you even left, right? So if you want to share the sequence of it.
Yeah. And probably for the people, it goes back, well, Jessica and I talked off record, right, a couple of weeks ago, stating like in Colorado is going to be very busy in things of, observing stuff. But the link I want to do is it comes back on, I still remember, March 15 of 2021. All right. This is the experience that actually allowed me to get in touch with Peter and Jessica. And because a Kruger aircraft came actually, let's say, to trigger something out of me, all right? And that TR3, I didn't see it from 4. That one, okay. So before March 15, I've seen 2, not far away, but not close. But I saw them hovering. But on that March 15, it was really up close. And I still remember telling Jessica, I was nervous, but not scared, but what the heck is going to happen? And technically, I couldn't see the details because it has like a form of plasma, but it has a triangle shape. The corners were round. So I wouldn't be able to say, okay, which one of the TR3 model is it? Probably Peter would know, but anyway. So I came here in Colorado. We had this show with Jessica and on a Sunday. So I left. Okay, so I came to Colorado July 8 to 12. On July 12 at 1 a.m., I had to go to the Denver airport. It's a 50-minute ride. So once I stood outside, I knew, I would observe and see things. And I did actually, but they always, in the beginning, when I left the hotel at 1 o'clock in the morning, from 4, it looks like orbs. So throughout, my path, I was paying attention and I could see orbs. And after this, I could see aircraft, but from 4 up until I'm probably 10 minutes away from the airport on E470. So it was about, to be exact, 3:30, because I noted 3:30 a.m. So that means I did not leave at 1, sorry. I left probably close to 3 or 2:45. Anyway, And then at this moment, what I'm seeing again, all right, above the highway, not far away, a orb, but it was lightning. Then I said, "Oh, I recognize this because I've seen and experienced this a couple of times, but in Ottawa, Canada." And then a couple seconds later, I'm seeing this aircraft. Again, I was able to really pinpoint the detail of the aircraft, but based on past experiences, based on the light pattern, I figured it was a triangle shape. So therefore, I'm going with the 2 or 3. Which model? I don't know. So basically, this was letting me know that, um, you know, it was in confirmation that I'm coming to this area. Yes, on behalf of the ACIO and Kruger, right? And um, that sealed the whole thing for me. And I was like, okay, good. So if that's the way I'm supposed to see things and get confirmation, I'm gonna make the move. And bear in mind that on July 7th, so one day prior coming here, again, as I was going to my house with my family, I've seen a orb to my left. So I was probably, 5 to 3 minutes away from my house. Then when I look at the orb, I cannot recognize it. So because it has several trees, all right, to my right while we're, traveling in a car. Then after this, when there were less trees, I took peek a look again at my right. Then I've seen this advanced aircraft. The shape, I don't know, but the lightning was really pulsating. And probably people who watch Star Trek or the kind of sci-fi movie, it was like this, pulsating. Because I've seen this again, so I recognize.
Was it
And
just a white light, or was it like, sometimes it's different colors? I've heard people tell me
blue and red.
Blue and red. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So it's like pulsating red and then blue. And yeah, so once I got home, I've checked with my way of getting intel. So I saw it was Kruger. All right. So I said, okay. Up until July 12 a.m., like around 3:30 a.m. when I saw it really up close, not big, but to a certain distance, I said, "Oh, okay, now it's real." It's real.
Yeah.
I'm
And it's happening right before you're ready to go there, both times.
Exactly, but that's the thing. Yeah. So August 2nd, I took my flight on August 2nd. So August 1st, again, that's when I saw it. And basically, it let me know that, one thing for me is going over there, making the whole transition, but I know they eased my way to come here, all right? Even to the job. So they basically, I won't say in where I'm going to work, but the way I found it, we had some couple of conversation. I felt and I checked, the ACIO helped me out to be there. All right. And then Peter confirmed it. So it's a whole thing about where it's seeing stuff and really, a couple of years ago, a couple of years ago, I wanted to live this. Now I'm into it. I feel it's like French, basically.
Yeah.
You living the mundane world, but at the same time.
Well, welcome to Peter's world.
Well,
welcome to Peter's world. It starts getting really weird if you spend any time with him. And I've had people show up, like you don't even hear the door open, and they've shown up, and you're like, who's this person? And then Peter says, oh, you met so and so, and I'm like, this is how it started off with me and him, that he was trying to prove to me that he was real. And that's when I met Faith Connors, and I met someone that he called Pandora, was part of the numbers group. And it's like, Peter, these people can just show up in a room and then disappear, or they don't have to go through the doors, and and they have all these abilities. I said, what happened to me? I said, you're giving me a hard time about being part of the numbers group. And I said, they have all these abilities. But with Peter, it gets really bizarre. And I remember when I went to the Grand Canyon, and like my whole life I wanted to go there just because I knew it was going to be amazing to look at it. And there we are standing there at this beautiful vista, and Peter calls. And I'm like, so now I have to focus, like something happened that had to be resolved. But I'm like, I waited for so long to just take all this in, just have that like little quiet time or whatever,
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh yeah.
But it gets pretty weird. And so now you're in there. They sent you to Colorado, and I think the last time we talked was it a Rainstorm Corporation, as well as, and then you have Typhon there. Mm-hmm. And Life is Strange, True Colors. And Peter has always said, why don't you move there? He used to say that to me, and I said, I don't think I'm the right person to be moving there. So.
Oh, yeah. I remember you told me this. But you know what? I think it's a matter of circumstances. But, I'll come back to it. But yeah, living that normal world and going through stuff, right? So you mentioned numbers. It made me think. I went to seeing some friends at a place probably an hour from south of Toronto, right? And that was in February. And then I've seen a orb. So I said, something might occurred, right? So when I went to my sleep, I was somehow connected to another consciousness, right? And then I've seen individuals, and two of them I can recall had some numbers above their head. Then I figured that I had some kind of, I don't know, some sort of a glass or lenses. Yeah, that would provide me information, wherever I would look. And we went.
Well, the numbers, it could be that you're, there's a few different things that would cause the numbers. One, the numbers group is something that's calculated by the Council of Five, right? And the ACIO.
Yeah.
Then there's androids that might have some number sequences, or cyborgs that might have some number sequences over them, that maybe there's another variation too that I'm not aware of.
Yeah. But there's one number I remember. And am I allowed to say the number, Jessica, or no? It's better now.
I don't know.
Okay. Well, okay. You know what? I won't say the number, but I pictured. It was clear how the individual was, and then Peter confirmed as it is. But what was really?
What kind of person was it? Like when you say
the appearance was a lady. Yeah.
A lady, but were they negative or positive, or when you say, or someone that was in the programs?
Because that scene that we were going on mission. This one, that one was with 374, Unit 374. And
okay.
They had, some sort of guns whatsoever, and they were, this individual and someone else who had a number as well were really laid back, but it was like a impossible mission, you know what I'm saying? That has to be performed, but was laid back, as if nothing was
calm.
Calm.
Yeah. Sound like they were an expert at what they did.
Yeah, exactly. And I remember that I had to break like a heavy structure, You know, I had to stomp my feet. And guess what, people? When I woke up, I had this bruise under my right foot. And then during the whole morning and the day, I was like, shit. But, you know, I did not hurt myself yesterday or whatsoever. So, you know, I was thinking about it the whole day until I started to investigate my recall. And then I see that, oh, shoot. The feeling that I have is because of what happened in the other context of existence, right? When I broke like a huge, I don't know, whether it was still concrete, but something I don't think I would be able to do it right now. But in that context of reality, it occurred, right? So
Yes.
I had to break it like while jumping. Yeah. And then, you know, I had that bruise for a couple of days. I said, and Rolf, not Rolf, but joking that you know, chance it wasn't bullet, you know, that went through you. Otherwise, you would have holes.
I've talked to people, yeah, that they saw that they get shot and then they contact me and they're in pain.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's whatever happens there can be very, very real and manifest.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, what in the world, you know, is going on? Or like they get these really weird marks, scratch marks.
This.
I know some people were talking and we start getting close to what their problem is or something that they're connected to. And then all of a sudden they have these like, you know, very obvious scratch marks.
Wow.
And they just like manifest on their body. Like, you know, it's crazy. And I've had pictures and pictures of that same person that has gone through that. And then there was a woman that went through it as well. So it's a few different people going through that situation. But
wow.
I want to talk about something that was really crazy that happened to us the other night. Well, first of all, you were talking about a lightning bolt that you saw that went sideways.
Yeah. But before Jessica witnessed it, right? You know the day. Okay, so let's say today we're Sunday. I saw it on Friday, but it actually started on Thursday. So
that was in Colorado. Well, you were in Colorado at that time.
Yeah. That was on August 3rd. I did not know where it was coming from. All right, because of where I'm at right now. It's a little bit elevated, so I can only see, you know, behind the houses, some, how can I say it though? Blinking lights, you know what I mean? But in the sky. And really, not the whole sky, but like a specific, right?
Almost like it was possibly like a ship or something. You see something's flashing behind the clouds, like in a section. Right?
Oh no,
like that.
I was not even seeing this because where I'm at, it's elevated, so it's as if it was in the house or like going downhill, right? So I can only see in the sky, you know, it changing from, let's say, dark blue to dark light red. You know what I mean? So that was on August 3rd, which was a Thursday. But on August 4th, the Friday, now I was, you know, driving. I don't know what street or avenue, but now the landscape was more clearer. You know what I mean? And I seen this huge cloud. And at that particular moment, it's at the opposite Jessica that I'm seeing, like, you know, lightning. But strange because sometimes, you know, probably the viewers will be able to see it. It was exactly what I was seeing the previous day, but now I could see the detail. You know what I'm saying? I could see the cloud. And have you seen, to be honest, Jessica, I did not even knew that the lightning were horizontal. It's when he told me this that I checked. I said, oh shit, look at this. Yeah.
Yeah, when you, because did you videotape it? I'm trying to see how
Yeah,
picture.
yeah.
Do you have that to share with us, or can we? Maybe you could share it after, and we'll show everyone, or you know, if you.
Let me check.
I had, well, then the other night, you contacted me, you had a message, and I went for a walk. Now, I'd not seen anything like that before. I just thought, all right, I'm going to go for a walk and get some exercise in and get some fresh air. So I'm walking, and I'm about halfway across where I would usually go for a walk, right? So I'm about halfway there. Out of nowhere, what was it? I was thinking of something particular. I forget what it was. And then all of a sudden, I heard this crash, and I looked up, and literally the lightning went across over me, and then this downpour came on me, and I had my phone with me, and I'm like, oh no. And I was like, and I need to get back, but I thought that wasn't normal. It felt like it was completely contrived.
Yes,
and
indeed.
After you contacted me, that happened.
I would be curious. I would be curious to know why.
Whatever was interacting with you there probably was showing up over here. And I've seen that happen before, where you're just connecting to somebody, and it's almost like it's a viral thing. I don't know how to explain it. It's kind of weird.
Wow. Would you feel it's? Oh, I sent the video, by the way, so in the chat, right?
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, when the viewers gonna.
There's a vertical. You had a vertical rainbow that you sent me at some point.
Oh yeah, but that. Oh yeah. Oh,
okay. So.
Okay. We could talk about this too, because it was. I know Peter know. I'm pretty sure Peter knows, because I seen that it was ACIO. The ACIO knew it about the vertical rainbow, because. But we could talk about it if you want to show the.
Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna have to do it like this.
As well, they can facing west, so that would be the Rockies over there. I'm seeing a lot of strikes, but only over there now. If you pay attention, let me see.
Proceed to the route. Proceed to the route. At the light, turn right onto 35th Avenue.
Let me see.
Going to cross over in here. Yep. Yeah, we'll play that again.
As well, they can facing west, so that would be the Rockies over there. I'm seeing a lot of strikes, but only over there now. If you pay attention, let me see.
Proceed to the route. Proceed to the route. At the light, turn right onto 35th Avenue.
Let me see.
Yep. And it looks like it's low, but you're in a higher elevation.
Yeah, exactly. And then again, probably, well, whoever is supporting Jessica and Peter, but probably for the, people that discredit, which organization that I saw was connected to this, because this is an experiment that's been not the rainbow, but the lightning strike, or
Yep.
Again.
Yep.
I was happening that. Oh yeah, so that on July 12, when I arrived in Ottawa, it was not raining. So basically, I've seen this because of a particular experience in IT, right? And information that someone told me, I knew it was a portal. But that one here, as people can look at it, is vertical. I went to take a look at it when I got home to know what it was, and my information, what it was a portal in which ET beings, or if people want to say group of angels, but benevolent beings, manifesting themselves. So they would not be able to. People would not be able to see it. I wonder if people even knew that this rainbow or portal was here, right? But I found out that ACIO knows about it, but I couldn't depict Jessica and Ralph which ET groups. I was not able to tap into it, but yeah, but saw another thing like this probably 3 weeks later, and was strange.
And you saw something like this too, right?
That was in between. So I seen the vertical portal, then this secondly, and when I look at, it's not even me that found this. It's a raven. What's the sound of the raven that raven does, or like a bird does?
Like a claw. Yeah, they
say, like ah.
Yeah.
And this prompted me to look up, and then I see, So again, this is not coincidence. I knew the raven was calling me, or the raven was direct to call me, and I look at it, but I couldn't picture what was it, right? I asked a friend. She looked like as if she told me as if like a portal is being like hindered, and when I check again, I could confirm that it was supposed to be a portal by benevolent ET beings, but somehow it was indeed hindered. So
almost looks like a little eye right here.
You see,
Yeah.
I did not see it until now. Yeah, did not see it until now, and probably 2 weeks later, Jessica, I've seen another vertical rainbow. And what was funny is it did not rain. And when I saw the rainbow, I was driving with my family, so I told, "Hey, look at that," because my son liked to see rainbows. And when we came back 5 minutes later, it was not there. So I said, "Oh, okay." So
I found this article, and I think we talked about it briefly. Let me see if there's video here. That's what it looked like. Similar. Right?
Yeah, that layout. Yeah.
The moment that she could snap a photo of a lightning strike near her home, went to her barn, she saw a solid view of a lightning storm on that day. But the photo she got, however, didn't just have lightning in it, that there was something else going on. So it's a lightning strike in a rainbow sunbeam. It's interesting what's going on,
Yes.
Which leads me to another thing too that you and I have been talking about is I'm going to go back to some of our messages. So I contact you the night that you were talking about something, and then I had that horizontal lightning. So it happened to me similar. But that's where I live, in the area that I live. And then another weird thing happened the other night where I heard the name Tyrone. So I started to look and I was working with a client, and I was like, there's something going on here with the name Tyrone. And I started looking at and I found this movie. They cloned Tyrone. And I'm like, well, that's really weird. I've never heard of that movie. And then I saw Jamie Foxx there, and I'm like, oh my God. I said, Jamie Foxx got cloned, and here he is in this movie. So I'm gonna we'll open this up. Let me see. We'll do a shared screen again. And I'm looking at this movie, and I'm like, this is really weird. And well, of course, and then as I'm looking at this, you were actually watching the movie at the same time.
Yeah, that was on Friday.
Yeah, that was so crazy. I'm like, oh my God. I said, look at this thing with Jamie Foxx. And yeah, people, and there he is right in the back.
For the people, probably that same day, a couple of days before, you send me like something from Instagram or TikTok, right? The real Jamie Foxx, and to the left or right, it has an image of a lookalike Jamie Foxx.
Yeah.
And on that Friday, you tell me, hey, look, that movie, The Cloned Tyrone. I was like, shoot,
watching it.
I'm watching this movie right now.
Yeah. Does it look like him? I don't think it looks like him. I said, look at the shaped face.
Again, with the geometric, without using any kind of device, only with our proper sense, right? The geometry of the foreheads, the eyebrows.
Yeah, just the distance of the eyes and where they're set and everything is completely different.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know what? In towards the end of the movie of They Cloned Tyrone, they literally show it's this guy right here who gets cloned. It's not Jamie Foxx in the movie, but it's this guy, Tyrone.
Yeah.
And what they do with him is there's variations. It starts off, he's really dark skinned. And then they show him as he literally turns white, like as if he's Caucasian. And that's the variation of the clones. Do you remember that? Like towards the end, I think we actually have the video footage of it.
Yeah. Because the scientists, or let's say the originator, right? The scientist, which was probably, I don't know, in his 70, this character meets his real self, but he is a scientist. Do you remember that, Jessica?
Yep. Yeah.
And then, it basically, I don't remember the whole dialogue, but what Jessica is mentioning, there were several variations of this clone. Yeah.
But the irony of that, James, and both of us were looking at this at the same time, which was really
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
But I just heard Tyrone, and then I started looking. I found this movie, and then I thought, well, he's in this movie called Talking About Clones, and then what had actually happened to him. And it was kind of horrifying, like that's they don't have any conscience of what they do and how they do it. And literally they had him in that movie and then go ahead and then, everyone's like, well, what happened to him? People were worried that he had died and all that. And then you see those pictures of him and like, wait a minute, his skin's lighter, his face, the shape of his face is different.
Yeah, like deformed. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it just is not the shape of his face. I mean, even extreme surgery couldn't do that. Like that's like rebuilding your whole face. But even still, it's not something that you can do. I mean, you have your brain size and all of these other things that get involved. So
yep, exactly.
And then because originally I heard the name Tyrone, so I was thinking because my age and been around the block a few times, right? I knew of this other silver screen actor by the name of Tyrone Power. So then I started looking at him, and of course one of the movies he was in was Jesse James. That was a name that my father wanted to give me if I was a boy, which is kind of hilarious.
Jesse?
Yeah, Jesse James. They called me Jessie growing up. I wasn't Jessica until I got older. And then I was like, oh, okay. So they had the Black Swan, which is also a program that he was in. And then look at Prince of Foxes. And I thought of Jamie Foxx. And I'm like, oh, that's really weird. But then there's like one other piece here. The Black Rose. The night before, I was just about ready to go to sleep, and I heard someone say, you're in the Black Rose program. And I'm like, what is the Black Rose program? And they said, oh, it's a program to be in caring about somebody or wanting to be or being romantically involved with someone, but you can't quite pull it together. And I'm like, yes, that was definitely a problem that I'd experienced. And then I saw another woman's face that I recognized, and I'm like, oh, geez. I said, this is really horrible. I'm trying to get out of that. But it was all around this whole Tyrone thing.
Mm-hmm.
And his older daughter, his old daughter is almost like a name like the Romani, the Gypsies. And then he's married an Italian music legend. This is his older daughter that married someone that was Italian, I guess. But I think the big thing here relating to what we were talking about is the Prince of Foxes. And for me, in addition to that, was this Black Rose. I'd never heard of the Black Rose program, and here is actually that movie. I believe the soul. The soul goes into many different bodies, many different races, cultures. And so I believe this was the same Tyrone Power was somehow connected to Jamie Foxx, in my opinion. I mean, usually when I look at past lives and the thread of how things go, and then they were tying this together, that they were connected. So that was wild.
Jessica, beside being an actor, what else Tyrone Power was doing?
He had to have been involved. You remember, you don't just get into Hollywood by accident. You're usually some sort of asset, whether it's for Monarch or for Solar Warden or for, what have you, Mobius and any of these programs where they like to use people for agendas and make them famous. So you can have someone that is absolutely striking, really, really attractive, or someone who's very, very talented as an actor, and they never make it. They never become famous. And it's always been like, well, oh, those people sold out. They did something that I didn't do or whatever. I had an uncle who went to Las Vegas. He was a singer. He had an incredible voice. He could sing just like Frank Sinatra or any of them. And he actually sang a lot of their music. But he didn't make it, There's you have to have something else going on. Sometimes it's your genetics. Is the programs, and there's a combination of other things, but like Peter and I talk about often, is that it's not just about whether or not you're famous, whether you make the deal with the devil or whatever, that doesn't guarantee that you're going to actually be able to experience that. Usually they take over your body. Mm-hmm. So there's other, for people that are trying to make deals to become famous or whatever, it doesn't work like that. That's why for me, it's not important to be famous. I like being in my body, I'm not saying that every person that is doing really well has been compromised, but there are people around you in your neighborhoods that have already taken over, and that's the problem why we're having so many problems on the earth is a lack of like some people say, oh, there's only a certain amount of humans on the earth. It's not just that there was a certain amount of humans, but some people, they couldn't deal with life, so they allowed something to influence them, and the more it influences them, then gradually it will take over. And it's that kind of situation, but that's another topic. But a very serious topic that needs to be looked at.
But you know what? probably in a future conversation, I would like to know both of your feedbacks, you and Peter, because you mentioned a few things, right, about corporation and controlling and looking for specific things. I'm getting that Jamie Foxx was okay. Mobius was somehow implicated because of Jamie Foxx's genetic signature. So it's something I would like to hear about your feedbacks. Uh, up on the
Yeah,
show, though. Yeah.
I think they've used him before. So if he was Tyrone Power and then he became Jamie Foxx in whatever role that he played, and maybe they have like a younger upcoming star or professional that they want to bring up, and they inserted him into there.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm getting this download. Um, there's some okay. He's very talented, right, Jamie Foxx, because he sings, play
Yeah.
instruments. He's a
Yeah, his Ray
comedian.
Charles was out of this world. It was
Yeah,
incredible.
he act, do comics, but there was something that for me was off. Was the decision? It's not really it's bad. No, it's the decision based on this social, status. It's like Martin Atch. One of the things that made me really figure that something was really off with him was really it, like the energy didn't match. Let's say as well the spouse, but I saw the spouse was the handler of him. You know what I'm saying? So there was something off for me with Jamie Foxx in the past, let's say 10 years, but I couldn't pinpoint it. You know what I'm saying? But now today, the way things are going, what you're sharing with the connection with Tyrone, uh, it's revealing. Uh, let's say some question that I had around him. Yeah.
Yeah, he was multi-talented and really, really a strong influence, and also a kind of you can call it an icon or someone that a lot of kids looked up to, you know, for many reasons. I mean, he carried himself really well and
Mm-hmm.
and was able to navigate through Hollywood fairly easily. And but like I said, that there's groups that don't like something, or there's a shift.
Yeah.
He could be going into another reality, or he could be coming back here in another form.
Yeah.
Like who was it that Eminem? Peter said that Eminem is like a war hero in another reality, like
Oh, really?
from military. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, and you and I could be something else in another
Mm-hmm.
place. And
Mm-hmm.
that goes for many other people.
Yeah.
I'll see people in sometimes other realities, and they're sometimes they're doing similar things, or someone that they kind of have an interest in, they're actually married to in that lifetime, or they have a certain type of career or job, or sometimes they're politicians somewhere else, and then they're frustrated over here. It's like
Yeah.
it's really wild. Another person I've seen in multiple realities is Donald Trump,
Oh,
and
wow.
he was extremely powerful. He was a powerful leader in many realities, not just here, but many. All at the same time. It was wild. I'm like, oh my God, he's really, really powerful.
Mm-hmm.
It was almost like more than the earth could handle, at one time. And I think something happened where someone knocked him off his pedestal, as they say.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know who that was, but it wasn't. I don't even think it was from this reality that did it.
Gotcha.
But it could be like they have agendas for different things. There's powers that be, and when I say, I'm not saying galactic powers, but those that have been in a negative way controlling humanity. So something like that has definitely been going on. We've been struggling with that, whether it doesn't matter which leader that comes in, they want to have things go in a certain way. And so that's part of the battle. They should not be in control. They shouldn't be running things.
Well, because there's different layers, right? In that movie, The Cloned Tyrone. But the essential message is that government that's on the surface are not really ruling, but the organization that's listed on the ACIO, actually, we can talk about, the North American continent, is really, or was and is, controlled, governed by, those specific negative corporation that's listed on the ACIO website, right?
Right. Yeah. Because
in which they don't appear, they won't appear visibly at the surface, but on the ground. Yeah.
Yeah, it's their abilities and how they were able to run things underneath the ground, and they literally were using people as guinea pigs. They were not human, and so people would look at that movie and say, "Oh, the government, they did all this," and it's not. The regular government doesn't know how to do all of this.
Mm-hmm.
This is what Peter's been talking about for a long time, and Peter's talked a long time about these underground cities. But also the other component, a very important component, is how they walk through and find this like elevator, but then at another moment it's gone. So that's how this is not the typical government. This is something that is actually within the matrix. And the fact that in the movie, whether it's based on someone's recall or something, or it's soft disclosure to get the information out, but they're letting people know that there's this underground reality that is experimenting on everyone. So like what he said is, we created this environment, this poverty environment, where you would all be struggling, and everything starts to become like this weird illusion. And Tyrone's so distraught, he doesn't know what's going on. But he's already a clone. He's a clone already. So although all that time, he doesn't realize that his mother is not even there.
Right. It's all construct. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what, yeah.
So does everything, like his son that he think he lost, and because they programmed it. You remember when they programmed him in the facility with some goggles that made me think, about what, Jessica? About that trailer about Murkoff in Outlast 2. They had a trailer in Murkoff in which, they were exposed to, visual content. So that movie is quite, right in your face. People may replace, because they didn't tell, which company whatsoever. They may replace, or they may add, like a monarch that's running this facility, and the surface, well, any city, let's say in the US or even Canada to a certain point, right?
Peter talks about that whole border between the US and Canada, especially like around your region from, Ottawa and Toronto. So there's a Murkoff facility that's underground, as well as Monarch. And people have gone looking for it. That, it's not necessarily, they say, if I go there right now, will I find it? I don't know if you'll find it. You might see, if they want you to find it, you'll find it. But they may make you look like you're crazy. So you can't really get everyone to go and look for it. Or they may make it look like you're on drugs. And so they try to do all these different things. And you said that, I think you said something to me about where you went somewhere, I don't know if it was an airport or somewhere, and you saw like, I don't know, it was an elevator or a door, but then you went back there again, it wasn't there.
Oh, yeah. In 2019, I still remember, I think it's month of March, going to the airport. Then I've seen, hey, right when I was, taking the curb to go like in the parking lot to park my truck, to my right, probably within a second, but it went through a flash of at least 30 seconds. You know what I'm saying? I've seen a portal, and that portal, it triggered me. The portal was simple, just like in a rough, a 2 column bricks with the vertical part. You know what I'm saying? Then I saw still NRC, National Research Council of Canada, engraved like on that, like in cement, you know what I'm saying? And I said, you know what? In that time, I had connection with you and Peter. And between 2019 of March until we met in April of 2021, I went there at least 4 times. And I kind of knew where I saw it, but every time I was passing by, I could not see it. So I was like, sure, but what's going on with me? Because I know I've seen it, So I thought this was a Mandela effect until Peter told me that no, this was actually a recall of a mission that occurred, to neutralize this portal. So you're right, because until Peter shared that confirmation, I was, going a little bit, not nuts, but I was like, I don't get it. You know what I'm saying? When you sure of seeing something, then afterwards
Oh yeah,
you cannot see it.
Saw it.
Yeah, I was like, no.
But that's what happened in the movie where he was in that house, and he goes into the house and tries to bring all his friends, and he says there was he opens up the closet and there's nothing there.
Yeah.
But then we were talking about also how all the different places that had an entrance into that facility down below were like everyday type of places. Like there was this chicken place that they went to, like fried chicken, right? Fast food.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then they had this, it was like a salon. There was a variety store that you open up one of the areas, like the coolers that had all the drinks and everything, or the beer or whatever it was, and you just open it up, go in. Yeah. They had multi-surveillance cameras in the chicken place. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, this reminds me of my whole series that I did with Jimmy from Detroit, where we were trying to figure out what in the world's going on with Jimmy. And we were like, he met this guy, I'm trying to think of what his name was. He just looked like a regular guy, but he knew the more he talked to him, he realized he was an android. The guy would repeat his like, oh, this happened to me, kind of like Tyrone. This whole thing happened with my son and so forth. Whereas like in this guy, his name's Gregory. In this story, Gregory kept on talking about how he lost his wife and then he became homeless. And he kept repeating that exact, there was like no other, when you talk to someone in this, if you live to the age of 40, you have a lot of information, like, your parents and where you grew up and what your favorite food was, where you traveled to. And, there's a whole bunch. This guy was mostly focused on his hardship. Right.
Right.
Then he'd go into Tim Hortons of all places. Right. So here we are finding like just a generic place. And I had all these people from Canada like laughing. Oh, this is crazy. Come on. This is Tim Hortons. It's our coffee place. I said, no, there's something going on here, right? He would go in there And he'd sit there for hours. He'd have a glass of water. I said, did you ever see him eating food? He said, no. I said, did you offer to get him food? I think he did. And he didn't want any food. Because we figured he was an android. And he would go in and he'd have like multiple phones. Now, here's a guy who didn't have any money, right? Supposedly he was poor. He'd have multiple phones, and there was like some kind of something going on where he was letting it play. And it was like some woman or some voice, and they were like instructional of some sort, or they were repeating or words, or they were doing something. And I said, Jimmy, did you hear what they were saying? He goes, no. I said, but it was loud. He goes, yes. But for some reason, he couldn't make out the words, and he wasn't that far from it. And then they never kicked him out. He would do all sorts of like weird things, and they would never kick him out. Almost like they never noticed it. So the whole thing was really, really weird, and we were just trying to analyze and figure out what was going on. And Detroit I had a discussion with Peter because of that TV show, or the video game.
The video game, yeah.
Yeah, Detroit Become Human, and it was really weird. How, like I said, they completely annihilated that city. That was the major corporations for the ones that were manufacturing vehicles. Hundreds of thousands of people had jobs working in that city with people of all different cultures, they just literally outsourced all the vehicles to other countries, probably like Japan and so forth. And, that wasn't the only place. Like General Motors went down. There was a whole bunch of car companies that went down. And I don't know if it was some kind of political agreement or it was to depress the people and send the work outside of the nation. Maybe they thought we were making too much. There's this whole thing where we're supposed to be guilty. The Americans are supposed to be guilted for working too hard and building too much, because then they're I don't know. Then it's inequities, but anyone from any country could come in and make money if they wanted, and they want to stop that. So,
but again, Jessica, this is related again what you're saying about the movie, right? Controlling or designing the social construct at the surface, right?
Right.
Because of its location, I've seen that Mobius was, let's say, the main architects or planner of that whole shift around Detroit and the automobile industry. For what? I don't know, but yeah. And you told me that, Mobius and Monarch was not well, probably their base is extending to Detroit as well. Wouldn't know, but
oh, definitely, because of and they have like a cyclotron around there too, around the Great Lakes, and they've had some like really weird things happening over there. But so now you have a thriving city that because Ford actually bridged over to like Toronto in that area. There was another car maker that was up in the Toronto area as well. And it was almost like they just like pulled those guys out. And I think there was a narrative. They say something, and I asked Rolf to record that part where they talk about. I'm trying to think of how exactly that the one guy, the guy that was like the one that did the mind control in the movie. He lays out everything and how that this whole thing was orchestrated to keep everyone submissive and under thumb, and to keep people oppressed, and so that they could study it. So it was merely an experiment to them. And this is exactly what Peter's been saying all along, is that this is nothing more that we are being experimented on the way that scientists experiment on lab mice.
Oh yeah. And out of it we can list it. The riots in the 90s, that's from let's say those programs in the dorms. Unfortunately, school shootings is coming out
Absolutely.
from
Yep.
this,
Yep.
racial tension, it's coming out from this, and people will be surprised. People,
Yep.
What's crazy, it's people, Jessica would have my skin tone, but or assets of Murdoch of Mobius would do such things, you know what I'm saying, to certain demographic individuals, you know what I'm saying, that may look like them. So and people are confused and they think, KKK whatsoever, but it's beyond than this, right? It's only social experiments.
Right. Right. And they're getting angry. People are getting angry, and they're not stepping back and saying what is going on here and who's causing
Yeah,
this.
yeah,
And
exactly.
the ones that are causing it are just sitting back and watching everyone fight. I mean, they do want to see a civil war. They do want to see a world war because they make money. The pandemic, these people just got more powerful, more wealthy, and have more control over us, to the fact that they can play with everything. Like, suddenly, everyone has their own rocket to travel out in space. Think about all these people that made money. All the small businesses got closed down.
Yeah,
So the local people got oppressed. Only the
yeah,
elite get to have. They're the ones who have freedom to travel, and that there's no climate change regarding their scenario. But it is only for the regular people. So they're really creating a major divide. They're using these agendas, the pandemic, the race tensions, everything's going into their favor. If someone
yeah,
doesn't comply with it, they get extracted or removed or something of that nature. And until people get smarter and start seeing, I think it was probably one of the better movies that I've seen in a long time, regarding a very, very bold disclosure on what they've been doing. And the problem is, because of the trickery and the abilities that they have working with our context of existence, or the matrix, that they
yeah,
can hide something like that, or they can show it or pull people in. And some of these people, they get pulled in and they get experimented on. They don't know how to get out. It's not that easy. And their level of MK Ultra and mind control, I'm starting to see it in more and more places. And I just watched that series Lost, and they have a whole MK Ultra scenario in there.
Like the serial loss with the plane and everything.
There's a huge, that's all corporations too.
Hey, it's good that you mentioned this, because in the in the in that series, right? Their corporation is called Dharma, right?
Dharma, yeah.
But I linked that technically it meant to illustrate DARPA. And you know how because that plane was supposed to go, and DARPA kind of show off, right? Something, because in that series lost, right? Take it beginning like the plane is getting lost and then it goes to this island. Well, I've seen, Jessica, that DARPA was, even though they're in the United States, but they were behind of the disappearance of the Malaysian flight 370. this is how
Sure,
I
yeah.
connected.
Yep. And it's, there's the Dharma houses. That's the whole thing is the symbology. And then there's Swan, which Peter and I have not revealed information about the Swan program, which is something that he told me about a while back. But it's all connected. And that's the logo that they use. And so the show is called Lost.
Yeah.
There's information there about Lost. It's crazy.
Yes, indeed. But, it's funny how things sometimes are so far away, Intel, they look like it's not even connected, but they are. Because,
Right.
you're mentioning this, for me, it was DARPA. And, coming here, after you and Peter informed me about RSC, right? I was able to sense and confirm that their presence here is massive. Basically, from this base that's Area 58 up to the airport, right? And what you saw with Jimmy, with the guy in Detroit,
Yep.
You guys probably saw in advance what went on in last year with the massive migrants, that will be lost at the Canadian and US border, or Mexican and United States border, right? And when we talk, all of our three, about this mess that those people were like, were trying to find their way homes, but technically it's underground, and RSC is behind this mess. So I'm since I
bad.
So going back again, Jessica, I would really invite people who really want to know more, take some time to study the list of the corporation that has a positive or a negative influence. And I can, confirm and affirm you'll be able even to pinpoint, because that cloud, that abnormal lightning that Jessica posed, well, guess who I saw was behind this? Again, RSC. And how long were you talking about this, Jessica and Peter? About RSC?
RSC came up, I think, after we had met. We were talking about Detroit Become Human for years.
Okay.
And so you can see I did this show where this was after I did multiple shows with Jimmy, probably around 2019, 2020.
Okay.
21. I don't know. I have to double check. But and then we actually caught them that they were spying on people, just like in Tyrone. They cloned Tyrone, where they literally were kind of watching these people when they were coming in and getting their coffee, which is crazy, So I recommend people listen to that, and it's unbelievable that
shoot,
the activity that's been going on for so long.
Yeah, Jessica, another download. This is good. You're saying right in the movie how people were control when they were go to the fried chicken place, or even like dance club whatsoever. So people in Canada may know it. There's McDonald's was really everywhere, right? But Tim Hortons, okay, the number of facilities of Tim Hortons is way more than McDonald's, and I don't want to. I don't want to. What's it called again? To bash down anyone, but people who really knows about coffee is gonna know that the grade of the coffee at Tim Hortons is not, how can I say it, is not a top-notch cold grade
No.
coffee, right?
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? But yet it's popular. And you know what circumstances let me know this? Because I used to drink coffee at Tim Hortons until the day I ordered without sugar. I took a sip. I thought, oh, pff. Then I said, oh shit, the sugar makes it. The sugar has that special thing that makes that coffee, I don't want to say addictive, but you know what I'm saying? And now I'm saying that Tim Hortons being so present in Canada, it's for a city where I was, if you have 3 McDonald's, there's like 7 Tim Hortons, right? Then I'm seeing Tim Hortons as something to do in Canada, basically. Probably in Detroit and something, but in Canada, oh yeah, it's doing something like it's portraying in that movie.
Yeah. Well, we have, I didn't think anything of it at first, but, because we have Dunkin' Donuts over here, it's the same thing. It's not like the best quality coffee you can get around, but there is something about the taste. And everyone was like, what in the world is so good about that coffee? And like you can just crave it, And there was, and I was a big coffee drinker anyhow, but I know what you're saying. And in the movie, it's really funny. I'm not sure if they put that special ingredient, but I had this thing where I swore that if I got a bag of Doritos, I couldn't put them down. And it was said like a special powder, or there was something in there. And I said, there's something addictive to this that I don't do with anything else.
Mm-hmm.
And so like I stopped eating Doritos. I just won't go near them, because of that. Even though like if someone gave me a bag tomorrow, I probably would eat them. But it's like one of those things where it's the same thing with the coffee. Like if someone got me a Dunkin' Donuts coffee, I would definitely drink it,
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if they exaggerated, but because in the chicken place in the movie of they Cloned Tyrone, they're sitting there, they're eating the chicken. All of a sudden, everyone starts laughing, like they're happy.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and they did that with like a few different things, didn't they? Like they did it with music. They show that they're in this dance club, and then it was the weirdest thing. They had these like Caucasian guys trying to like blend in, and they had almost like a little afro, and it was like, what is this, And so then they're like playing music. Hey, you're gonna really like this addictive song, or they said something like that, and everyone was like going crazy over it, like really super happy.
Yeah.
And so they got it into the music, they got it into the food, and it's almost like they're starting to, like, people say, well, this is paranoia, you're wondering what's going on. Well, think about it. These are expert scientists that have been working on like conditioning, say psychological conditioning, like Pavlovian thing, like Pavlov was working with the dog, and certain things, a certain bell or a sound would trigger food, which was then the dog would salivate, just by the sound. And so they worked on a lot of different ideas like that. And the same thing with experimenting with flavor, artificial flavors in particular, that they would put in food, and then it would make people get addicted to them or really want them or crave them. And they knew that sugar already had that quality.
Yeah.
So the whole thing's really interesting. I mean, yeah, you can like kind of be freaked out by everything when you start looking at things and start saying, wow, this is interesting. Trends and things like that. Like I just talked about Barbie and how they're trying to bring in something that's kind of like appealing to a child in a candy shop. The really bright artificial colors, getting people accustomed to that, cartoons. And so in order to appeal to this generation, they did this whole Barbie thing, which was a huge success. And then somehow merged it with Oppenheimer, who was someone that actually created a bomb that could annihilate all of humanity.
Mm-hmm.
And had the movies come out at the same time. So there's all of this different types of manipulation. And here you and I are talking about, I've been talking about this with Peter for a long time. And it's, to me, I know people say, oh, Peter's hard to listen to. I can only listen so much. They didn't want anyone to listen to us. They really didn't want it. They didn't want people to know what was going on. And now, as time is, progressing, and people, we're able to take those conversations, bring it forward, and say, look, Peter talked about this 5 years ago, and here it is, because he's already seen what's in the future. And now, like I said, other people are catching on to it, and it's a risky thing to do a show like this, but they put it out as a comedy, which is soft disclosure, which is also something that Peter's been saying. They're trying to leak the information through soft disclosure to help people to wake up and to not, get caught in the agenda of whatever it is.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why in that movie, it was well designed that, among the three characters, couldn't have been like a student, or, a professor at university, and let's say, I don't know, like a lawyer, right? Because it would have been probably too harsh to digest, but they pictured, three individual that people say, it's only a movie, and yeah, look at these. They're not, that intelligent until they're getting, their hints and saying, this house has an elevator to go to this facility, and so on. But yeah.
Well, I think the key is intelligence isn't necessarily equated with education.
Yeah.
So yeah, they weren't refined. They weren't like, supposedly the educated level, and they're low income, but it was designed that way because they were the point of experimentation.
But yet,
and so they're the ones that would have to be the ones that expose things, because they actually are right in the middle of it. And they see it. But it's designed also that they're not taken serious, because they're not from the upper category of the educational system, just like I said.
That's right.
But they're doing it anyhow. Like, I have people from all different spectrums of society that are sending me, ET, or UFOs or something like that. And it's happening across the board. Mm-hmm. The problem is the more educated people are afraid to talk about it, that it may, I'm educated. I have my bachelor's degree. I was, went to a very good school, which, families from Hollywood, have gone there, film school and so forth. I don't know how some people just feel really uncomfortable about it. And every now and then you have someone that is very bright and knows what they're talking about, and then they come out and I start to disclose certain things. And the more disclosure that happens, more of those people will feel comfortable. But meanwhile, I appreciate the people that, didn't have any fear, and they came right out and said whatever it is that they were seeing.
Yeah.
And because someone has to do it. Someone has to lay that groundwork. And, like, that's why I appreciate Peter, because it wasn't really easy for him to come out. And I remember, like, I was listening to some of the earlier shows where he was almost like apprehensive and nervous, and he probably thought I was going to say, no, Peter, I don't want to do any more shows. And sometimes he'd get frustrated and misunderstand me, or, because culturally we're very different. But we kind of, like, I stuck it out. I worked with him to help him because I knew he had something that was really important. He was trying to let us know, and he was out of his comfort zone, but he wanted to be able to get this information out. And I'm glad that he did. I think we're all the wiser. I want people to be more open-minded to, yes, he has his own specific way of saying things, but to be willing to listen and hear what's going on.
Yes. Oh, yes.
And same with you. I appreciate you, and I appreciate the team, 374 and the Kruger group, and many others that have, tried to come in and share information, what's happening. Speaking of which, we haven't gone much into anything else that you've noticed while you've been in Colorado, because is this a done deal? Are you going to be staying there, or are you just going there as a visit?
Oh, let me put it that way. I had to embrace that I was sent here, right, by this ACIO. So one thing is to feel it and sense it, and one thing is to go through the moment you're like, oh, so it's things is for real, you know what I mean? I'm getting this opportunity because the CIO helped me out to be in this area for specific task. All right. Okay, this for real. Oh, seeing aircraft before I'm coming here, and when I'm leaving out, oh, okay, it's another confirmation. So at some point, this is what I was asking a couple years ago, So I'm in a point where I have to go through it, digest it, and confirm it. So yes, I know I'm supposed to be here. Remember when I told you first time I came here, I sense I been here, but from the report that was shared by Peter about me being involved in Area 51, right? Which is not far away, technically. I think it's this experience that allowed me to sense a recognition, or Colorado is not new for me, technically. And because there is particular place, whether in the island or in Mexico, when I went there, I said, ooh, I know this place. You know what I'm saying? I feel I've been here. So yes. That French thing I was mentioning, I can since I saw that 3 that close, since I also had that recall in which I was an agent, which I am, but I was an agent, not in my physical form, but like in the movie, it triggered me, the Cloned Tyrone, but in that recall, I escaped through a hatch that was on the floor, but I evacuated through slides, you know what I'm saying? And it brought me to another site. So besides seeing this in Mario Bros, technically, but Mario Bros, the tunnel in Mario Bros, right, or the slides are
Mario
like portal.
Brothers?
Yeah, Mario
the
Brothers. Yeah,
games.
Whenever they were going to the
The
tunnel,
Cotanos, like yeah.
it's a portal. So it made me think about a show that you guys talk about, and that really hit me. The slides are like tunnels or like really
Oh
portals.
yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
Peter had some really crazy looking slide that he showed me. Yeah.
yeah. So these events experience, right? I was asked to be in it. So since they are in it, I don't want to back down. You know what I'm saying? I know it's weird at some time, but I think this is what I feel most comfortable. Otherwise, life itself would be so boring. You know what I mean? So, yeah, new experience. Yeah, but yes.
It's an interesting location, and like I said, there's a lot going on over there.
You're not lying. You're not lying.
Yeah.
No,
And I think it's opened you up in another level. And for some reason, because I went and stayed there. I know Peter asked me to move there. Maybe, and I don't think we would have been doing the same thing, but for some reason, and I just couldn't see myself there. It's for me. It was a tough energy. Like I don't know if my empathic something that was going on. And I've lived around cities and everything, but for some reason it was weird. I feel this energy of metal there. I can't quite figure out, and I don't know if you've noticed that. It's almost like it looks like the mountains are there, but I feel a lot of metal, and so I don't know if the metal is inside the mountains or if I'm tuning into like Cheyenne Mountain or something, or like a military something that I was tuning into. And I remember that feeling, like I couldn't shake it. Like I couldn't see my, and I know it's beautiful. People spend a lot of money to go out there, even to vacation out there.
Yeah, but Jessica, I think I think it's specific to everyone, right? At a particular time.
It is, yeah. Yeah. I mean, you clearly have a different role than I do.
No, but what you're saying makes me think about, I went in Ottawa 6 years ago, right? But I was being offered to go there probably in 2010, right? But I felt like, nah, what I'm gonna do over there, you know what I'm saying? At that time, I think I was not ready, or it wasn't suitable for me. But yet, came there like 7 years later, you know what I'm saying? So probably sometimes it's a matter of timing.
Right, and things do change too. It could have been like an energy that was there at that moment, and that it's not there anymore.
Yeah.
Because Peter started talking about Life is Strange, True Colors, and the Typhon Corporation, and the mining that goes on over there. So that came up later after I knew him. It wasn't one of the first topics we discussed in like 2017, 2018.
But good question, Jessica. Why Life is Strange or was set up here? What's the major factor? Is it the merge?
Yeah, I think they were, because they were related to the Monarch and Umbrella Corporation, the children that were rescued, and so it's almost like they're the next generation of doing things with the ACIO.
Okay.
So they had that. The Life is Strange was Chloe and Maxine, and Peter's currently married to Chloe.
So Chloe was here at some point?
Chloe was out west, more out west, like Seattle,
okay.
in that area, for the first Life is Strange.
Wow. Okay.
And I was there when they rescued all of them. I mean, they were They were definitely like, you know, teenagers or older, you know what I mean? Like they were older, but it's almost like they're older people in younger bodies. It's very weird.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like they're hundreds of years old. There's something about them that's not, like I said, they're not necessarily typical human.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they
I see.
went through, they obviously were taken in by the programs, and then they were experimented on, similar to, you know, they cloned Tyrone scenario.
Mm-hmm.
They had them in rooms. They were, you know, hosing them down. They were telling them how bad they were. They're putting them in cages and crazy stuff.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
They had a lot of psychological trauma, and they said they had this. Then they relived some experience and created the Life is Strange, almost like they went back to school. You know what I mean? Like they kind of age regressed and went back to school, and then then I think what's her name? Alex is the girl that is, she has a brother and they live in the mining town there in Colorado, and that's True Colors, that she sees auras. That's where they get the title from. So they had problems with Typhon, the corporation, and then they resolved it so that they're working with us. It was similar like Delphi. When we first started talking about Delphi, they were like the negative group, and then as they started actually helping, and so, you know, then working with the ACIO, or at least in harmony with not trying to hurt humans as much.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, it's things like that have come out, and I think by talking about it creates like this openness where things sort of evolve.
Right. I see. Yeah. Well, yeah, you're definitely right. Yeah, it's quite busy. You mentioned Merg, or Monarch
Merge.
Umbrella. Yeah, Monarch Umbrella. Can we say it was they joined themselves to do that program, right? Uh, but when I
They're
say
part
that
of
again,
his team. They're his team, Peter's team. So when
say
he
that again.
goes off, Peter has them as part of his team.
Okay, I got you. I got you.
So they have phenomenal abilities. Maxine has the ability to actually reset something. Like I think I've talked about that before, where there's someone shot at me and she was
Yeah,
able to reset it. And
yeah.
she does that actually in the show. And I know that some of them have abilities where they can, you know, they can be really small in size, but they can have huge pieces of furniture just flying around the house. I mean, their ability of kinetic ability is amazing. So that, you know, they're kind of like the gifted, you know, having those type of abilities.
Right, right. See now. Um, so yeah, Umbrella. Okay, so you see Merg being, oh yeah, Umbrella and Monarch being present here, and the others too. But it makes it's it's making quite sense why I found, well, not found. I could confirm that RSC is actively really present. Uh, what gave me the hint was Area 58 that Peter talked. Then I said, okay, but why the DIA is so important or so huge? Then I see it's connected to Area 58. But then the lightning thing, uh, what initially I sensed it was RSC, right? And then uh, the intel is pointing me towards it. But have you ever seen or talked with Peter or someone else about experiment where it's flashes that's going on, like in clouds or whatsoever?
Yeah, not specifically like that. Like what I did is when I saw that lightning going horizontal. I knew immediately it was not an organic anomaly. It was something that was inorganic and contrived for some reason.
Right.
As soon as I was listening to something, I think I was listening to Major Tom, the song Major Tom, which is could be associated with the NAZIs. I don't know why. It just came up on the thread while I was listening, and I was walking, and then that lightning hit. But there was a new person that moved across from me, and he suddenly had this party of men come over. And I was like, all right, there's something weird about that house. And I looked, and they were using his house like there was like layers below it of some kind of facility, like an overlay of facility. And I had to ask to have it removed, and then things started to calm down again. Yeah, so the guy, they moved this guy in across the street, and his voice was like really loud, like louder than usual. Than people don't usually talk like that. And then he had friends over, and then they were really loud. And then that was the night where I saw the lightning, and I was listening to the song. I saw the lightning and everything, and then I came back, and I said, I want to know where the problem's coming from. And I located right across the street from me that they had set up shop across the street, and I could look and almost see like a construct, like a few layers down beneath him. And I'm like, I can't believe it. I said, they just did this right across from me to probably handle me or try to monitor what I'm doing. And I asked to have it removed. I mean, I don't agree to any of that. And I'm not giving them permission to access my space like that. And I don't care who they are.
Yeah. For sure.
So I don't know. I mean, and it didn't feel like it was a benevolent, I'll tell you that right now. It felt more like it was monarch or something of that nature. But, when we're doing this work, you have to, like, there's one thing to be an experiencer, and there's another thing to, they come after, the whatever I'm doing, or whatever you're doing, they're coming after us because we're making some differences. So, for example, you go into that other reality, and you were you stomped your foot, which I forgot to tell you, I did see some technology on your leg. So I don't know if they had you sort of enhance or cyborg. There was something on your ankle that they put on there.
Which moment or which event?
The one where you stomped your foot and then it broke some kind of cement. Yeah. Okay. They had you all like jacked up, like the back of your ankle up to like not all the way up to your knee, but halfway was all technology. I could see it. And I saw a battle there was something going on. I think I saw Murkoff last night. So, really? Yeah. Yeah. And it felt like it was related to a facility. So there's something going on. I mean, they're not happy with what the team's doing, and they're not happy with Peter. Peter's has not been around, and I think it's because they have him busy.
But
yeah, that they're definitely trying to target Peter. He's always in a situation, but I get it sometimes too. I mean, just the association of being a part of the ACIO.
Gotcha.
Different type of target. But I have abilities, you have abilities, so we can kind of see who's coming in and what they're doing.
For the viewers, Jessica as more of a, let's say, frequent communication with Peter. But I know when I try to communicate with him and I hear no message, he lets me. This is letting me know that he's going through. He's going through. A situation or situations or events. Yeah. But you know what, Jessica? I wanted to mention that the whole connection that you did with Taiwan, the movie, the Cloned Tyrone with Taiwan Power, with the movie that you did, Fox to Jamie Fox. You know what this reminds me, so that the viewers can at least, give recognition to what you're doing is remember with in April, somewhere in April, when you made that connection with uh, I forgot the name, but it's Hell. Then to
Yeah,
act,
Hallie, the girl that was connected to she was the shooter who
yeah,
looked like the Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz, and then looked
yeah,
like Millie Bobby Brown from Stranger
exactly,
Things.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. When you first shared this, I was like, shit, how does Jessica does that? You know what I'm saying? But uh, it's it's all it's your thing. It's being done in a mysterious way. Uh, but the whole connection, I don't know how you do it, but yet it's effective. But it's the same thing that I felt when you were presenting the movie they called Tyrone Power, the movie that he did, the thing, the program of roles,
Black
uh,
Rose. Yeah, all
yeah,
this
yeah,
while you were watching it. I didn't know you were watching it, and then I was hearing it, and then I was looking it up, and we connected at the
mhm,
same time. This is my work with the 6th Division in Cicada 3301. So it's not necessarily people see Cicada as just numbers. They usually will ask me to locate something. They ask me to locate, and I go and find it.
and
That's some of the work that they have me do.
yeah,
Yeah.
but for the viewers, for me, looking in, let's say, yes, I'm within the group, but let's say I'm looking in from outside, right? It seems like things that doesn't even correlate. You know what I'm saying? Or if you look at the puzzle, someone will say, but they don't even add up whatsoever. But yet there's connections, you know, connections, and it gets deeper. You know what I'm saying? So it's impressive, Jessica.
It's impressive what you do as well. I mean, I think we just all have a different role, but that's
Yeah,
part of the reason why I was selected for working with the ACIO, and they had already contacted me, but I didn't really know who they were. But more than once, they'd have me identify and locate things, which makes me dangerous for the corporations, that I'm able to find things and I know who's what and what's going on. And I'll say to Peter, I saw this, and this, and he says, yeah, we were just working on that and blah, blah, blah. And, we've been doing this for years. And so, that's where we're collaborating with the 6th Division and the 12th Division. But the hardcore military stuff you guys are doing more so, and I'm kind of like navigating in a way. You see what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So I never would put myself up higher than anyone else. It's just that we all, in order for the machine to work, everyone has to do their part. So,
yeah.
I can't go in and do what you do. You don't do what I do. There's a little bit of a crossover,
Mhm.
which is kind of cool. It's been happening that we're catching some of the same things at the same time. But sometimes you're connecting with someone else in the group who had similar recalls of different things. So yeah, we're finding that it's expanding in that way.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Oh yeah. And yeah. So people, when Jessica is mentioning, the location or the territory where I am now, when she's mentioning that it's quite busy, uh, I believed her because for the little stuff that I've been able to perceive or even experience in a short time, you know, I was able to affirm what Jessica is stating, and the presence as well here. I feel there's such a world underneath.
Yeah.
All the Rockies and everything. Yeah.
I think you're equipped to deal with it. It's going to be very hands-on.
Uh-huh.
I think we're going to have a lot of conversations.
Yeah.
About you being there.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, but things sometimes are weird, but I think we are embracing it, because if we're not, right, what would it be? It would probably be boring. Because I told people it's true. At some point, I could go a week and things are boring, and then could do a show with Jessica and Peter. Oh man, my the boringness, out of this.
It's gone. Oh yeah, it's never boring.
Say that again?
It's never boring here.
Oh no. Exactly. And it's like, oh yeah, that's my thing. That's it's like food, it's fuel for me. Yeah. So I just wanted to add that little, thing. Yeah.
Well, I want to say thank you for your time today, and I'm glad that we're able to connect. And I don't know how much time you're going to be spending there, but maybe we can connect again and talk more about your trip.
Oh yes, definitely, Jessica.
And who knows what's ahead? If we have another one of these, they cloned Tyrone incidences, but I'm glad that all came up, and I'm glad we're able to talk about it, because it gives people a little something more solid to hold on to and to understand. Especially with the fringe topics that we discuss, it's nice to know that there are others that are understanding it at the same time, especially the public, because if you can kind of understand, we can get a lot further in disclosing more and more information. But for now, we're going to have to say goodbye. And here, as I said, thank you again. And thank you to all of you for listening. We appreciate everything that you contribute, your comments and so forth. Also, subscribing is really helpful, as well as if you feel in your heart to help support us financially, we appreciate it. Thank you very much. And don't forget to listen to Taino's show as well, Galactic Talk, and we will post some information so you can connect to him as well and subscribe. All right. Everyone, have a good day.
Ciao.
You have been listening to Andronetalks Radio. Join us on YouTube channel Jessica Arael Marrocco, and visit our website at www.readingsbyarael.com.